Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. And today we are going to cover something we haven't covered in a while. I think I did it like the first week it happened. And I've kind of let Regis take the reins of covering, well, Iksar's AMA. Iksar was the lead card designer of Hearthstone. Pretty much every week, unless he's on vacation, answers everybody's questions on Twitter. You can see here, this is the 26th time he's done it. And well, I decided after I've been bugged by I don't know how many of you guys to cover it myself, give you my own takes, because I guess, you know, I have different takes than someone like Regis would have, that I would do it. I'll give it a try this week. If it goes well, we'll do it again next week or whenever the next AMA is. And I did ask Regis, by the way, because I don't want to step on his toes. And like, he covers it, I don't want it, but he's like, go for it, man. It's not like he owns this or anything, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Regis, who covers this every week. I think he does a good job, but again, we're gonna have different takes. We're different people. We have different ideas for the game, and well, I thought I'd go through and, you know, take a look at some of the more interesting questions, at least in my opinion, that Iksar answered, and then give my take on it. So first, we'll start off with the question that I was the most interested in, and probably the one that I think created quite like the most hubbub going around. It all started with Ridiculous Hat asking, historically, Wild has been left to more organic balancing. In Standard, you curate based on ladder performance. And in Wild, you haven't. Current Wild kind of feels beyond the tipping point of this approach. Do you agree? Do you anticipate a change in how the format is approached? So, so basically, you could go to Wild to play your decks of old, or they've also said Wild will be Wild, that they won't do much balancing, and Ridiculous Hat saying, you know, are they going to start more regularly balancing Wild? And Iksar responds with this. We don't intend for Wild to be Standard 2.0. I don't expect the philosophy around Wild balance to change in any drastic way forward. So basically, no, they're not. We'll make light changes to major power outliers and major changes to extreme negative feeling gameplay archetypes. So I would think, in their opinion, a light change to major power outliers was like old Quest Mage, where they made it go from 6 to 8. That was a light change. And then an extreme change to negative feeling would be like Naga from 5 to 8, or Blood Bloom from 2 to 4, something like that. Way more drastic a change, or banning Stealer of Souls. Pretty drastic. He says both of these things are just very subjective, which is true. To us, Warlock is currently on the edge power outlier and will probably see some further minor adjustments. So basically saying it's getting to that point. I read this first tweet, by the way. I read this first tweet. I didn't see the second one. So I just quote tweeted it myself and said, it looks like the stance on Wild is not budging. However, and I was just asking my audience this, I was just curious. How many of you would consider Quest Line Warlock to fall under the criteria of requiring a major change by this definition? The definition, he said, of decks that take a major change, because like it creates a really negative experience. And I'm referring to Quest Line Warlock, of course. And I certainly would at this point, that I would. And Iksar actually responded to this. I wasn't even asking him a question, but he responded to this anyways. Basically, I guess he felt I was kind of pitchforking, I guess. I was literally just asking a question, but I understand his reaction, but that's not as important, but we'll go through all. I think the reaction words like this is usually something like, me and people I hang out with is all think this is something extremely negative feeling. How can you miss something so obvious? These cases are often more subjective than it seems from inside a bubble, basically alluding to like, of course my community is going to agree with me, and how could they miss this? But I was just honestly asking a question. I'm not saying it's obvious that they should hit it and all this stuff, but regardless, I get it. I get the sensitivity towards it, especially with my history of, you know, getting a little bit, I can get a little aggressive and stuff, but not in recent times. Iksar says, at this point in its life cycle, Wild is a high power, high synergy format with tons of high power, high synergy decks waiting in the wings if Warlock was removed from the equation. I think right now, and this is the most important part, power level is so high that feels like if you aren't playing Warlock, you are doing the wrong thing. When we're in situations like that, where the reasonable options become limited, we start to think a minor tweaks to open up the space a little more. So basically, he's admitting that if you're not playing Warlock in Wild right now, you're kind of making a mistake. And that's how a lot of players feel. It's why if you look at like High Legend, I think there was a response, not to this tweet, but to the prior point by Ridiculous Hat. I think Nate had a screenshot of like 37% Warlock, 56% Warlock, 56% Warlock, 39. Like it's just like, it's oppressive to a ridiculous length right now. And so it seems like they're aware of it. And if they're talking like this, that means there's something in motion. And I feel like we know the latest balance patch in Standard hasn't gone over particularly well, and in Wild it's an absolute disaster. And this is with Dark Lair at 3 or whatever. So I think Wild nerfs are probably coming, and maybe we'll speculate what they could be. You could just outright ban the Warlock quest. You can specifically nerf Dark Lair again, who knows? But the way Iksar's talking, they're aware there's some significant issues. Would not be surprised to see a change in the near future. Next question asked by some salty jackass on Twitter. Are there any plans to add leaderboards for achievements or duels? Because currently you can't see standings for either of those right now. And Iksar responded with, achievements will build on for in the future, probably not leaderboards. So I think the achievement stuff, I know like next Ramus is going to have achievements. They're going to have stuff like that. They've talked about adding like maybe card backs or portraits or coins or something to certain achievements. So looks like they're looking at adding like rewards and stuff to this stuff, to achievements, but not a leaderboard. And duels didn't really answer. I'm going to assume that not leaderboards is included, because yeah, duels even has a ranking. Like if you look in your duels menu, there's an MMR there and you don't know where you are. And like Battlegrounds has a leaderboard, Standard, Wild, even Classic has a leaderboard. It just feels weird that there's nothing for duels, and at least based on this, I don't see anything coming anytime soon. And for people that like to play duels, that kind of sucks, I gotta say, and I would love to see that happen. And as I was alluding to with the achievements, we have Martian Boo asking here, some of my favorite times in Hearthstone were grinding for the golden and 1000k or 1000 portraits, 1000 wins. For this reason, the Nozdormu achievement really calls to me, but there's no cosmetic to show off at the end of the mission. Any chance of getting a diamond Noz or Noz portrait 500 Noz wins? I think Martian, I remember he really reacted to my tweet saying they should do this. That was my suggestion a long time ago, to get people to play Noz as a diamond Noz. And Iksar said, we've been kicking around some ideas for titles and avatars, and this sounds like an achievement that is perfect for that. No timetable, but likely something that will make its way into the game sometime next year. So that's really cool. Like he alluded to, they're going to add stuff to achievements. This would be something they would add to it. And avatars, I don't know if he means that by portraits or something entirely new. Like you could put an avatar on your actual name and maybe it'll show up on a profile, like in the friends list. Maybe they're thinking of adding more of a profile page for the friends list. You could put a different unique avatar to it. That could be interesting, but maybe it just means portraits, and that's just awesome. I hope they do that. And as someone who's done a lot of achievements, if not almost all of them, it would be really cool to see that happen. We have a question, Iksar. If you could reprint a keyword from the past, which one would you choose? And Iksar response here, I could see us bringing magnetic back for the right expansion. So magnetic, if you're not aware, I think that was introduced during the Boomsday project, and it's basically on mechs. Mechs will say magnetic, and you can combine it to another mech on the board. You could choose not to, it depends on where you position it. And Ziliax, one of the best well-designed cards ever, has the magnetic keyword on it. And that'd be a cool one to bring back. I feel like it was almost like giving minions charge. It's like having charge in the game. As long as you have a minion on the board, you just attach it and you could smack face. That's what happened a lot. But yeah, the fact that they're at least talking about or thinking about bringing a keyword back is really cool. And yeah, maybe that will happen sometime down the road, and I'd be definitely down for it. Can't say magnetic's one of my favorite keywords, but whatever. I love to see any type of like down memory road type of thing. There's no real mechanic I hate from the old days, so it'd be okay. Iksar's also asked, so any big changes coming in the future? We had nerfs, so it only makes sense to have buffs to the weaker classes, pushing different archetypes. So far, the mounts have been quite underwhelming since board fights are dwindling. Any solution? And Iksar responds, meta is still changing. Our goal isn't to have 50% win rates across the board. It's okay if power and population fluctuates over time. We step in to change outliers or in situations where we think the meta is about to take a negative turn or never change. So no real answer, just that the meta is changing and they're keeping an eye on it. So does that mean we're getting standard nerfs anytime soon? I don't know. It sounds like maybe wild, but standard, I don't know. That's quite the non-answer. So there you go. Yeah, they're looking at it. Kind of classic Blizzard response there. Iksar has asked, Hearthstone's UI seems to have been giving you guys a lot of obstacles in the way of systems that the community has shown interest in for a long while. Tournament mode, in-game leaderboards, tracking. Will full UI overhaul ever be possible? What's in the way? And I agree. The UI in this game is atrocious for a top-tier game. Brutal. No tournament mode. The friends list works awfully. We have no profile pages. We have no in-game leaderboards. It said I would love to hear the answer, and well, we have it, and it's not a limitation of our current UI as much as a philosophical limitation we put on ourselves. Card games are already on the complexity high end of games, and part of the reason we think Hearthstone has been successful is limiting complexity in other facets of the experience. Limiting complexity doesn't necessarily mean you have to limit depth, but it also does have some impact. We have to try to have both depth and limited complexity, but have definitely sacrificed depth of systems for better UX many times. And I don't know. I feel like Hearthstone gamers could handle an in-game leaderboard, could handle a better friends list, could handle a tournament mode. I mean, you've added duels, battlegrounds, all these different modes. You have classic mode, which is completely different. You now have more than 9 deck slots. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of accessibility that wasn't necessarily there. I feel like they can open up on this. I know that they're like worried about like making the game too confusing, but honestly, I think these were things that would just help the game out. So I hope they change their stance on this, because right now it's like, the UI is just brutal. The UI is brutal. The game just doesn't function in the great way. And just think about a tournament mode where you could like pick what expansions are in there, maybe you start a different mana, all this stuff. It'd be really fun. And the game has literally nothing like that. And it just seems like something that just should be there. Another question here is, I'm curious what you think about the state of events in Hearthstone. It feels like all the seasonal events have not been the best in terms of generosity. People often point to the old days of getting double gold or dust. It doesn't feel the same anymore. And Iksar would answer with, you had originally planned to have a less gold-focused rewards track and do big events that make up the difference, but it wasn't received very well. I wonder who was talking about that. I don't know. We ended up just pumping almost all the rewards into the track, and I think the players have liked that more. So that was the Battle Pass outrage. They had taken away gold. There was less gold on the rewards track, but they had promised events, but they already had said we're going to get gold. It was just not transparent. So instead of trying to just do the events later, and they just dumped all the rewards onto the track to get us whole for what we would have been missing. However, I just feel like, why not just give events on top of that? Like, why are we being so stickly? Like, why couldn't you do both? Yeah, they said they would like monitor the rewards track and rewards and see what they could add later. Why not have a couple of extra events? I feel like they're so stingy, but I don't know. It's another one, like, I guess, yes, they put it on the rewards track. They were going to give it to us, or at least they said they were going to give it to us. And now it's like, no events. You're just going to take that. And I just feel like this game is too stingy still. And why not have more events? Like, I don't love the answer on that one. And we'll finish off with this question of plans on making Book of Hero skins purchasable with gold now that all of them are released. I missed the Warrior one and I'd love to get it. And Iksar responds, if we ask you to purchase one, we let there be some time for it to be exclusive before unlocking gold purchase. All of them, except for ones you can earn, will be purchasable with gold at some point. So if you're wondering about a portrait that you missed out on, that you would like to get gold, you'll eventually get it, through the game, through gold. They just haven't said when. Maybe it'll be a year, maybe it'll be 2, but I guess they want to, make it feel the exclusivity factor there and make the people that spend money feel worth it. But again, gold basically equates money in the long run. So, it still kind of evens out. But yeah, if you're looking at getting a Book of Heroes portrait and you missed out, you'll be able to get it eventually, just who knows when. So that's this week's AMA. Those are some of the questions I thought that were interesting. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these takes. And again, if you disagree with Iksar on any of this stuff, don't go and flame him. Rather, just go ask a question, see what he has to say. If you happen to disagree with it, well, everyone's got their opinion. Some are right, some are wrong, but they're, but if it's mine, it's always right, or well, always wrong. I don't know. It's whoever you ask, right? So hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day. And stay salty, my friends.